Hi, everybody. My name is Eric Briggs, CEO of Network Kinection. For those of you who don't know about us, Network Kinection is a statewide workforce intermediary in the state of California. What that essentially means is we contract with local community colleges to be the middle person between college students and employers for internships, jobs, and even apprenticeships in the state. Throughout the year, we have the chance to work with so many great students. And we wanted to start highlighting some of those students who have gained some experience in the recent past and were open to sharing with us. So today we have the chance to speak with Blaire Winters, one of our students that we've worked with. And so let's start with the basics here. What school are you attending and what are you studying at the moment?
So I attend Riverside City College and my major is Film and Television, FTV.
Great. And within film and television, anything in specific that you're studying or just kind of in general at the moment?
So my focus is on video editing and video production, but in the major, we learn everything from scripting, like makeup, everything else, yeah.
Sure. So you getting to pick up a lot of different skills. And, I'm always curious to find out what made you choose that major. I know for some of us, it's been a lifelong thing that we've always been interested in. And some of us, it's our recent hobbies or interests. So talk to me a little bit about that, Blaire. What's the reason for being in the film and television space?
Yeah, so in senior year of high school, I was about to graduate and one of my electives was video production. And that was when I was first introduced to making videos. We just had to make short videos, started editing. And I was so nervous because I was very introverted and shy. And that brought me out of my shell. Finally got to work with some equipment and gather up some friends and, kind of share our views and passions through video making. So that was when I just made the whole class laugh so much with my first videos. So I was like, wow, that's a great thing to do, but in life, I tried to pursue other things because, it wasn't really encouraged in my household specifically because of financial problems and stuff like that. And equipment's expensive, So yeah, life led me on a different path, but yeah, thanks to COVID recently, one of the good things that came out of it was my having more free time to revisit this and do it again.
Sure. And I think Blaire will talk sort of later towards the end of this about, kind of your passion that led you towards that. That was something that I think we noticed right away when we first started speaking to you about, potentially talking about your experience. So I really appreciate that. And what I think is great is you talked a little bit about, kind of learning about this earlier in life, right? And picking that up. And we see that happening more and more and more. We see students gaining experience in future careers or learning about them earlier in their lives, which has been really impactful. So let's transition to working with us at Network Kinection and maybe the experience that you've received recently. How did you first come to learn about working with Network Kinection? How did that happen?
So because of my FTV class professors, multiple emails were sent out about Network Kinection. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. And the process was very easy. It was very clear in the emails. And the professors said it was a great opportunity to take and they would recommend it to all the students. So I was like, okay, what's the worst that could happen? So I just filled out the little form. And then from then on, I was paired up with a knowledgeable professional. And from there, it was smooth.
Great. Yeah, no, thank you, Blaire. I appreciate that. And for those that, that may be watching this that are kind of new to how we work, we go into the classes generally and visit and meet with students during the COVID-19 pandemic. We definitely weren't. So we met with students a lot via Zoom, sent out emails with professors that helped get us connected to students, and glad we're able to connect with Blaire. And that a good experience came from that. Broad sense, maybe talk to us. You took on an internship in the not so distant past. Talk to us, who is the employer? What type of internship were you provided with?
So through Network Kinection, I was paired up with Clyde's Media Group, and he's a local employer in Riverside. So the work we do is everything related to social media, and basically I get to use my skills in video editing and my artistic skills in creating like posts and stuff too. So that's really fun.
Within that opportunity, Blaire, talk to me a little bit about what were the tasks and the responsibilities that you had throughout your internship?
So when I first hired on, my only task was to edit human trafficking survivor videos. So Clyde's Media Group works with all sorts of clients. I just happen to be working with the human trafficking group, and they are 1 million kids and reach Inland Empire. So at first, he would send me the full interview of the human trafficking survivor, and then I would break it down into important pieces, title them, separate them so they can go out to various social media platforms. And then after that, he also sent me resources so I could learn more about how to optimize social media advertising, and basically like how to send out posts that would get more awareness. So I was actually trained for that too. So I got something extra out of the internship, more than I had expected.
Great, great. No, and that's what it's all about, right? I think sometimes students might have, ideas of needing to have so many skills before they walk into gaining any experience. And a lot of times it's quite different, right? We have professionals in the field that are willing to give back and willing to assist. And that is so important in internship is mentorship and guidance, right? So, okay, well, thank you for kind of, starting to talk about that and give us a little bit of idea of where you were at and the type of work you were doing. Kind of around that, let's take a look at the beginning, right? So obviously to get that internship, we got to interview, right? We got to successfully get past that process and get the opportunity. So as you walked into that interview, did you feel prepared? Were you nervous?
Yes, I was definitely nervous because I hadn't had an interview experience in a long time, other than for basically like retail jobs or food service jobs, and they were like a different thing. This is a whole nother career path. So I was not prepared at all. But thanks to Jessica Hutchinson, which was the professional I was paired with, she helped me through every single step of the way and helped me build my resume, a professional resume that was revolved around filmmaking. And even though I didn't have much experience, she helped me gather as much as I could have possibly had, like even my YouTube channel and my previous, like even high school projects and other recent projects into the resume, make it look nice. And then she helped me make a really nice looking LinkedIn profile, which I hadn't even touched in a long time, but then she helped me polish it up. And then finally, she helped me with the interview, which is being on the phone with me and giving me some preparation questions that are typically used in those kind of interviews. So that was everything to me. Like what she did changed my life, and I couldn't be more grateful for that.
Well, we appreciate that. Thank you. And I'm glad to hear that. And so did you feel, I think everybody still feels nervous when they walk into an interview, regardless of how much prep, but did you feel a little bit better after going through that interview prep session, walking into it?
Oh, yes. It makes the entire difference of being everywhere unprepared. I think without that guidance, it would have gone another path. It wouldn't have been successful at all.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's important for everybody to know that, interviewing is nerve-wracking for most people, right? Usually you are in this small room with generally one other person, sometimes maybe a couple, and you're just, you're taking on questions, right, the whole time. And a lot of times it can feel like, wow, this is a interrogation, when in reality, you're both interviewing each other, right? And it's important for students to know that as well in their young careers. So thank you for sharing. Appreciate that. And so you get into your internship, you successfully get past that interview and you start your opportunity. So you start to gain experience throughout the internship. And I want to kind of jump forward a little bit. How long was this internship? Are you still with Clyde's right now and still working there? What does that all look like?
Yes. So when I was hired on, I wasn't sure if I was going to be in the internship for 3 months or more than that.
Right.
But after 3 months, I was kept on, and now I'm still working with Clyde's. Yay! And it's been a huge journey. I've seen a lot of growth in my job and my personal life too. And Clyde is such a great mentor as well. He understands that we have our students and interns have needs outside of our jobs as well, like communication skills and education. We're all looking to like move forward in our careers too, and he understands that. So I love that about this experience.
Sure. Sure, and I think that's always, not every internship will turn into a job, another gig, an extended internship, whatever it might be. But this is always our number one goal, right? Is that we get somebody into an internship. For employers, they get to meet somebody, see if this is the right fit, and hopefully it does turn into a job, right? So it's really exciting that you've been able to continue there, and it allows you to gain experience while still going to school, right? And I think that's super important to note here is you're able to do this while still going to school right now, correct?
That's right. Yep. And he's completely supportive of it. Sometimes I share with him some of my projects, like an animation class of my new films,
Right.
something like that. And yeah, I love that. He even told me, even if I graduate, the Clients Media Group will always be there for me as long as there's a client and there's a need. And
Right.
we will have more projects to work on continuing into the future. So that's very nice to hear
Yep.
as a student,
Yeah, and that's great to hear. And I think that, being able to take on an internship, keep a gig going while you're in school is a really important example for a lot of students because sometimes there's that stereotype that we need to take on summer internships, right? That's all I can do. I take a summer job, and then after that, I really got to focus on my studies. And everybody's different. People, that is the best way to go. But for others, you could be utilizing the internship or gaining experience kind of as that part-time job while you are going to school, right? Which is a great way to go. What did you enjoy the most about this opportunity? And I guess continuing to enjoy while you're still working there?
Yes. So the thing I enjoy most about my internship is the impact I'm making in other people's lives. Like for the human trafficking survivors, it's a huge experience to have their stories told, and I'm a part of editing it and making it presentable to the public. And it just makes a huge difference in their lives, and the viewers, it's making a difference in their lives because the content I'm creating is helping spread awareness about the issue and also helping families and kids learn about it in order to prevent it in the future. So that's like an amazing feeling I get while I get to be creative and use my technical skills to deliver this too.
That's great. Yeah, and that's really interesting, right? Because I'm assuming before you even started the internship, you didn't know that would be exactly the type of work you were doing, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. Always awesome when it can have an impact on the community as well. So I'm curious, when we talk to any students that are really in creative fields, film and television, like you are studying graphic design, production, anybody in these fields, we often hear how crucial it is for students, professionals in any of these creative spaces to build a portfolio, digital, hard copy, however you can do it. More obviously increasingly see it on the digital side with websites and great portfolio software. How did your internship help you build your portfolio? And I'm curious, was that a goal walking into this opportunity?
So it actually wasn't a goal, but because of the work I've been doing, like making the social media posts and the videos, I think I can definitely incorporate those into my portfolio for future opportunities. And actually, before going into this internship, I didn't even know what to put in my portfolio, but uh, because of Jessica, she actually told me like, you can use your YouTube videos as a portfolio piece. And I didn't even think about that. So whatever you have, even if it's a high school thing or a small thing you might think is insignificant, those things could be used as a portfolio piece because you basically created it at one point in your life. It was all your work. So nothing is insignificant, I believe, even if it's small,
Yeah,
it's worth something.
and you nailed it, right? Because, and I want to touch on something that we see talked about all the time, which is how do I gain experience for my first job, for my first internship, right? How did somebody like Blaire get this first opportunity in this field, right? And what you just talked about is one of those main ways to do so, right? Is building your portfolio. And even when you're in class, the projects that that you do can be turned and converted into your portfolio, right?
That's correct.
So I think that's really important, and something that maybe students don't think about is that when you get into an internship, think about documentation all the time, right? If I'm doing this work, where it's allowable, how can I document this for myself, right? Obviously, certain employers and opportunities you've got to worry about, non-disclosures and the work you're doing, but also just very important to note, it's a great way to start documenting who you are and the work that you're about to do.
Yes, for sure.
Yes. Getting towards some of the few last questions I have for you here, Blaire. I think I know partially the answer here, but do you feel like you learned a lot in this opportunity? And maybe if you don't mind touching on, what were some of the most important things that you learned from this experience?
Yes, so I learned so much. I've used my previous skills in order to get this internship, but because of this internship, I realized the importance of things outside of my previous skill set too, like the importance of social media and communicating over communicating virtually, basically.
Right.
Because of COVID, the world around us is changing extremely rapidly. And this is basically my first ever at-home job where I'm sitting on the computer, and the only way of communication with my boss and my colleagues is through email and Zoom. So that was a huge learning experience, and it's helping me adapt to the new way of life and professionalism. And I think it's for the better, honestly. So it's huge learning experience.
Yeah, and certainly, there's been so much debate about that, and I think it's really great to hear somebody who's a student right now talk about, hey, this is doable, right? I was at home. There was a local business that was interested in helping me, and I think both on the student side and on any employer that sees this, that you don't have to be a really large corporation to mentor an intern virtually. Right, which I think is important. I think there's been a lot about that, about having the right system and setup. And you have a local business here that gave you a great opportunity, and mostly virtually. So,
yes.
One other, one kind of a couple last things here that I had for you, Blaire. Before we sat down for this conversation, you gave our team a summary on your experience, and that was one of the reasons we really wanted to chat with you. And I noticed one thing that you highlighted, and that was about passion. And you noted how important it was to sort of let your passion guide you during this experience. And just talking to you right now, I see why. I see that you had experiences in other areas, and you really had to let your passion take you towards this. Can you elaborate on that a little more for me? What do you mean by that?
Yes, I believe passion is everything in especially a creative field, because
Right.
without it, you don't have that drive. It's the driving factor that leads you to do great things in your life. So passion, as long as you have that, it will help you build skill and your portfolio. My passion is actually outside of video making and all the technical skill. I started ice skating as an adult, and I put in 5 to 6 hours a day just to gain the skills that I wanted. And from that passion, I think I can transfer it over to other things that I do in my life too, like such as animation or filmmaking. It does take that much passion to drive it. So yeah, because of the ice skating, I was able to use film to film my ice skating and share that progress with my viewers, and give them hope that even though they are an adult, perhaps even overweight, and maybe like have no hope, but if it's their dream, they should do it. And from there, I think it kind of like gave my academics a boost, as well as my physical and mental health. So whatever you're passionate about, that gives you a subject to share or talk about, and it leads to so many opportunities. So that's where it is.
Yeah, and I love that, because I think what you did there is really related how, stepping outside of your comfort zone, maybe in some other areas, kind of help with other things in life, saying, hey, if I could do this, or if I could improve myself in this hobby or activity that I could do that everywhere. I could do that in another place as well. And that sounds like it kind of led you here. So
yes.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. Do you think, and this is something we talk about all the time, obviously within our company, do you think that other students should take on these types of opportunities while they're in school as well? And, I guess a follow-up to that, would you recommend other students in your major connect with us at Network Kinection?
Oh, absolutely, 100%, 1000%, because my classmates from last semester were asking me about it, and I was like, yeah, I totally recommend this. A lot of them thought it was like unachievable And some they were like, I'm not ready. I don't have a portfolio. I have nothing. And I was
Right.
like, yeah, that's why you should reach out and maybe get some help from a professional. And I
Right.
was like, yeah, I've been through this and I highly recommend it. It will make such a huge difference in your life. Even if you have nothing, they will help you get on the right track if you share with somebody your
Yep.
dream or your goals so that they can help you work towards it. So this is great. This is such a great opportunity for students. Yeah.
Sure. Sure. And thank you. No, you know, you touched on something that we discuss a lot. Like I was saying that, really ensuring that the students we work with have the confidence to take on these opportunities is a big part of what we do. Because yes, it is kind of out there in the world that, you got to have a certain amount of experience. You need to have years of doing X type of work before you can break into it. And some of that's really difficult, but really you can, wherever you are at, whether it's the very beginning or you've already gained a little bit of experience, there's a next step. And I think that's really important to mention. So Blaire, before I wrap up here, big kind of question that I would love to ask it is, what are kind of the next goals for you? What do you hope to do in the film and television industry or with your career in general?
I really hope to one day be able to work for the Walt Disney Company or DreamWorks because
Great.
I grew up with those movies and they were the ones that taught me how to dream big and how to,
Right.
be a good person and go after your goals. And yeah, that's why I was like, they made such a huge difference in my life when I was growing up. I just want to be a part of that and when I'm older so I can help the next generation have a source of entertainment that is good for their mind and their mental creativity and their soul. And yeah, that's just I just want to help people with my work. That's the greatest honor in life is to be able to reach out to someone emotionally and make a difference. And right now, even with this internship I'm doing right now, that's just a local small company. I already feel like that's something that I'm already doing. And that's just the bigger picture. But right now, I'm so grateful to be where I'm at and be doing what I'm doing. It's just a great thing to be a part of.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's so important to see the journey you're on for students that may watch this, that, if you want to go work for one of those larger companies like Disney that you just mentioned, I often get asked by students, well, how do I start there, right? And some of the times you might say, well, let me make that my goal and then walk it backwards, right? And how do I gain that experience? And there's a local company right next to where you're going to school that is helping, you are providing them with a service, you are enjoying it there, and, potentially it helps you, later on in your career. But, I just want to say, thank you so much, Blaire, for taking some time today. I really appreciate it. Yeah, of course. You have discussed not only, parts of your opportunity, but I think have enlightened, hopefully some students on how crucial it is, to gain experience while you're going to school and couple that with all that knowledge you're gaining in class.
Yes.
So yeah.
It's a lot of hard work, yeah, but it's totally worth it. Like before, I was only working like part-time minimum wage jobs to get by, and this is such a huge difference in that. Like it's totally worth the effort to do something like this because you get to do what you love. That's so important.
That is what we that's sort of what we're here for, is to help you get to that experience. So glad things are working really well for you, Blaire. I want to thank everybody who watched this video, who took the time to listen to Blaire and to me speak for a little bit. To learn more about us at Network Kinection, feel free to connect with us on social media. We are on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or feel free to visit us at networkkinection.com. That's network, Network, Kinection, spelled KINECTION.com.